What's up everyone, Alex here. I gotta say, it feels so good to be a Yoko Taro fan these days. Not only did we get a reimagining of Nier in the form of Nier Replicant version 1.224, you get the rest, but also two mobile games in the form of Xeno Alice and Nier Reincarnation, with the latter reaching a milestone of over 15 million downloads since its release. That's not even including Yorha Dark Apocalypse, a Final Fantasy XIV crossover storyline that stars Nier Automata's 2B and 9S. So when news broke out that we'd be getting our fourth Yoko Taro game in the span of 2 years, it genuinely piqued my interest. This game was later revealed to be Voice of Cards' The Isle Dragon Roars, which had an unassuming game announcement via a Nintendo Direct, whose release has since gone unnoticed by many. The pressing question that needs to be answered is how much Voice of Cards carries the DNA of Yoko Taro's games, and what else lies beneath this seemingly innocent announcement. But before we delve deeper and ponder these inquiries, I think it's only fitting to have a game master set the mood for our journey.
Welcome to Voice of Cards. You are about to take the first steps of your adventure. Through a realm of sword and sorcery you will travel, battling bloodthirsty monsters as you strive to realize your ambitions. Now then, your departure draws nigh. May your journey be a safe one.
Voice of Cards is a JRPG set in a medieval fantasy world, developed by Alim and published by Square Enix. The footage you're seeing is from the PS4 version of the game. Your quest will have you hunting down a dragon of much renown, unleashing its fiery rage after years of slumber. It's up to you and your band of adventurers to slay the dragon and save the land from this looming monstrosity. Perhaps the most confusing part about Voice of Cards' initial reveal was what genre it actually belongs to, and any hope of clarifying this with a free demo accompanying its announcement were quickly dashed as soon as viewers saw the presence of cards in the trailer, as if the name of the game wasn't enough of a clue. However, anyone who took the time to download and play this demo found themselves pleasantly surprised by what they found. There are no collectible card packs for you to buy here, nor does the game have combat lifted directly from games like Magic or Hearthstone. It's an honest-to-goodness turn-based JRPG from top to bottom, though it does feature several twists that shake things up a bit. The biggest change in Voice of Cards' gameplay has to be the decision to remove MP entirely in favor of incorporating a resource system that's found in most collectible card games. In those games, you earn an extra resource each time your turn comes up, allowing you to utilize skills and abilities by spending these resources. In Voice of Cards, you earn one gem resource each time a party member gets their turn, and much like classic JRPGs, turn orders are determined based on each party member's relative speed when compared to your enemies. This has multiple reverberating effects throughout the rest of the game. For starters, you'll be unable to use any healing skills outside of battle, since these require spending gems you can only use during combat. Secondly, gems are a shared resource across your entire party, so you'll have to be clever about choosing what skills to use at any given time. Third, gems always reset back down to 0 at the start of battle, so these resources don't carry over. And finally, the removal of MP means you won't have to worry about buying items to replenish this resource, though you will occasionally find items that'll help you obtain more gems just by consuming them during your turn. Over time, you'll eventually find that you won't be able to use all of the skills you've learned at the same time. Voice of Cards only lets you equip 5 skills for each party member, and you'll have to find the right balance of equipping more powerful and, by extension, resource-costly skills, alongside ones that let you keep earning gems each turn. While it's not exactly as deep as traditional collectible card games, I do find this light version of deck building to be a bit more approachable, allowing me to make interesting loadouts depending on what the situation dictates. Unfortunately, for anyone hoping that these changes would deliver a challenging experience, will be disappointed to learn that Voice of Cards isn't a difficult game at all, nor does it give you any option to make it any harder than it is. In fact, it's not a long game either. One playthrough of Voice of Cards averages 12 to 15 hours, with subsequent playthroughs extending this by a few hours, skipping story beats along the way. It also doesn't help that transitions to and from battle take a little bit more time than needed, though its developers have acknowledged that they are looking to improve the speed of these transitions. That being said, I see the game's easy difficulty and short playtime a blessing when considering the state of JRPGs as of late. With the genre's more popular games averaging hundreds of hours each, there's been a lot of discussions within fans of the genre whether it's possible for these games to offer experiences that felt fulfilling and worthwhile despite its shorter length. There has been a long-held fallacy that the longer a game is, the more value it has. As longer and more massive games occupy more of a player's time, a new question arises. Is the time spending in these games worth it? Or are we just simply being funneled from one padded questline to the next, with barely a consideration as to whether or not we're still enjoying our time with it? I may be getting ahead of myself with all these questions, but when I consider the experience that I had with Voice of Cards gameplay, I simply couldn't get enough of it, even after finishing it for the first time. And while the game does have a New Game Plus, along with multiple endings to obtain, I still craved for more. This is a testament to how well each aspect of Voice of Cards gameplay is designed, delivering an experience that implements classic genre staples alongside mechanics inspired by modern titles. It's also because of its approachability that I highly recommend Voice of Cards to anyone wanting to get into JRPGs, allowing newcomers to engage in a low-pressure way that lets them learn the genre's many conventions with just enough depth to allow for experimentation. In case it hasn't been apparent, the core of Voice of Cards' design is rooted in the idea of blending elements of classic JRPGs with the conveniences and features found in modern games. This, coupled with a minimalist presentation, helped inform the game's identity, making it one of the most unique experiences in the genre to date. Naturally, Voice of Cards accomplishes this by using cards to represent the world, its creatures, and the characters you meet. Cards that depict the various landscapes in the game can be likened to the tiles that make up your surroundings in 8-bit era JRPGs, with each tile representing forests, castles, and towns. To differentiate it slightly from these classics, Voice of Cards tiles are arranged in a hexagon layout when traveling from town to town, with each card flanked by two others on either the left and right side, and another card above and below it. This seemingly counterintuitive design might make it a less straightforward way to navigate through the world, but it also makes it so that discovering places, events, and treasures feel more fulfilling. These happenstance encounters aren't just composed of side quests that you'd find in other games. These moments vary greatly, from eavesdropping on thieves talking about hidden treasure to aiding man and monster alike with what ails them. I'll be upfront by saying that none of these decisions affect the main narrative whatsoever, but the way you respond to these events can net you a large sum of treasure, or a smack in the face, hurting you and your party in the process. However, I find that the heart and soul of Yoko Taro's games lies in their narrative and how it manages to turn it on its head. The seemingly banal premise of going on a quest to slay a dragon, for example, easily obscures the fact that there may be layers of story that's hidden beneath the surface, assailing you with questions that you may not have considered asking when playing games in the genre. As you might expect, these questions border on the philosophical, though not delving in the same levels as both Nier games. It's in this sense that Voice of Cards serves as both a game that attempts to defy and challenge JRPG conventions, but also celebrates it to the utmost within the capabilities of its developer, a dichotomic theme that runs through much of Yoko Taro's work. Speaking more about the game's minimalist presentation, Voice of Cards' soundtrack contains a set of 14 songs, which is smaller in scale when compared to other JRPG OSTs. While longtime collaborator and composer Keiichi Okabe's name is prominently featured, many of the songs found were actually composed by Oliver Good, who collaborated with Okabe on Nier Replicant and Sino Alice, with Shotaro Seo contributing a few others. As one might expect, Okabe delivers a distinct melody that immediately signals fans that this is indeed a Yoko Taro game, with Oliver Good providing European-inspired themes that envelop the game's visuals in a soundscape that separates Voice of Cards from other games in the genre. If I can only describe Voice of Cards in a few words, I'd immediately say pleasant surprise. For one, I didn't expect Yoko Taro to deliver a short yet solid JRPG experience that not only showed the strength of his vision, but also demonstrates a mastery of direction that is unbound by any genre. With a unique presentation style, a narrator that helps immerse us deeper within its narrative, and a soundtrack that helps it stand out amongst a crowd of other JRPGs, Voice of Cards is undoubtedly the sleeper JRPG hit of the year, and you'd do well to experience one of the brightest gaming gems of 2021.